Drop power, family. Be king. Get free or die. Heavy is the head to wear the crown. Thumb up this video. Subscribe to the channel. Go ahead. You see, do not teach dreams. You know. But look, now I'm watching this video in here this morning, and again, thumb up this video. Subscribe to the channel. You got Pan Africanism Strikes Back. They in here, talking about that ADOS thing, that the elbow thing, and Thicky Ross, Dane Calloway or whatnot. Now, y'all know good and damn well this man been up here lying, talk about we some Native Americans. From where? From where? All right? Because, you want to be an Indian, a beat nose, but you don't want to be black. You don't, because you say copper. Copper. Ain't no such thing ever been no copper people. Period. Ain't ever been no copper people. Period. And the people you talking about died 200 years ago. Died 200 years ago because I was arguing with one on, well, he was arguing, trying to prove his little case. He talking about, I put up a video where it said 80% of the Native Americans is already dead. They been dead, period. They been dead. And, the reason why was because of diseases. Go watch Guns, Germs, and Steel. The majority of them smallpox. They did not have vaccinations, to those diseases, syphilis and all. They did not have vaccinations for those diseases. So when the white man came from Europe, the dark ages, dirty over there with some rats, they brought all them diseases over there with them. Typhoid and all that. They brought all that with them. And the Native Americans, being the clean people, they came in contact with them dirty folk, not having no, serious medicine, because they use like the medicine wheel. You know what I'm saying? Not saying however they use it, it don't work. But I'm just saying, the African, which I learned the other day, had, the West Africans had the vaccine. The white man from New England, Boston, was in West Africa seeing the Africans reintroducing the virus back into the body. And they gonna speak on that. I just learned this yesterday from a cowboy. I was watching Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains or something. It's about the Native Americans or whatnot, because they got me interested in this topic. But it always show people that look like this, nigga. Period. The people y'all talk about didn't come around to 1500s and shit like that. Why? Because they was Africans that came with the Spanish, Cortez or whatnot, and mixed with the Native Americans. They ran, which I already done showed, down to Mexico, but you way up here. You way up here. And so let me play a little bit of that video and I'm going to come right back. Chop out. Get it in real quick. You Negroes is good.
Right? Let me get this down. Wait. Look, I like this scene. Let me just finish the last like 1 minute. Y'all got to see how the Indian got pumped.
You were killing each other for hundreds of moons before the first white stepped foot on this continent. You conquered those tribes, lusting for their game and their lands, just as we have now conquered you for no less noble a cause. This is your story of my people. This is the truth, not legend.
All right, what that white man said, that Indian was like, this is your story of my people. And the white man just said, nah, dog, this is true. This is the truth. What you guys are listening to is what amounts to legend. And it ain't even legend, it's just myth. It's like folk tales, right? None of it is actually based on anything true. It just sounds nice. It makes you feel fuzzy on the inside. Oh, we're really Native American. It don't make me feel fuzzy because I ain't no ugly ass Native American. I'm telling you that right now. But the thing, what I'm saying is, it makes them feel warm and fuzzy because they're like, we're supposed to be here. We didn't have a place to belong, but we belong here. No. Look, Dane Calloway, take your ass to that reservation, go pitch you a tent, and go live there for 6 months. then you have some validity to your argument. All you Indians, they have the Native American Festival down in Long Beach every year. Go down, it ain't a single black face in the group. It's like 10 Indians with some dude in a
What I
thong and a
tell y'all?
loincloth beating on a drum and doing rain dances, and black folks walking by his ass going to Yard House. Walking by his house going to Roscoe's. Well, we Indians, yeah, we was here first. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Callie. What up, my brother?
What's happening, family, man? I love what you just said, man. The same thing happens up here in Oakland, California, man, in the Bay Area. Man, we had those festivals with the Native Americans, man. There ain't no black people in that crowd, man. Nobody, you don't see nobody in the Bay Area claiming that stuff. Now, I seen there was a couple new dudes who have popped up on YouTube who's come from Oakland, man, trying to say that he's an Aboriginal, man. Some absolute nonsense. No evidence whatsoever, man. They always say that, well, you know, you got to go by with your grandmama. Man, a lot of people's grandparents said that they think that their, you know, mom or somebody like that might have had Native American or something like that in them. They never claimed to actually be full-blooded Cherokee and all this other stuff.
Man,
that these Aboriginals
left shoes.
Yeah, like all that type of stuff. No one claimed that type of stuff. This is some new age nonsense that black folks are trying to claim to be indigenous to America because they're ashamed of their African heritage. So they're trying to claim to something else. But the reality is this: the biggest culprit, the biggest, the most destructive thing to the Native Americans was the old world diseases that Africans had already been used to, that already had built up antibodies for anyway. And on top of that, Africans actually used to practice vaccinations going back way before. Matter of fact, I don't know if you knew this. You can look this up. Africans actually taught Europeans how to do vaccinations, but that's a whole other subject line matter. But we already had it. We already had the antibodies to deal with smallpox when we went over there. So it wasn't something that we had that they were concerned about with us. We were already immune to smallpox. The Native Americans who had been distant away from everybody else hadn't come in contact with diseases like smallpox and malaria. It was new to them, so they didn't have the immunity to actually deal with it. So that wiped out the majority of the natives. Dane Calloway, man, that's an absolute clown, bro. That's an absolute clown.
That dude said he is a Native Indian. That dude looked like a Cleon from off of Star Trek.
Yeah, that dude said, I'm Aboriginal. He said 98% of all African Americans are Aboriginal to the United States of America. I said, man, can you show your primary source? They never have primary sources. They never have documents to actually verify the information. Only thing they go off, it's a belief system, bro. It's a religion for these people now, bro.
It's a cult. It's a cult.
It's a cult.
Hey,
it's an absolute cult.
See, now look at that. I used to tell y'all the Dane Calloway cult. See, a cult is when you got a leader, because I always used to ask them, and they used to be said to this day, be embarrassed to say that Dane Calloway they leader. You know why? Because he has no real credibility in scholarship, bibliography, and history, period. So nobody's going to respect that. You know what they have to do? They have to jump around and make up things, you know, that can't nobody, you know, they can't go prove or whatnot. So a cult is something, you know, an idol. And he they idol. And what it is, you know, he done gave them a escape route from being African or being black. Why? Because when you say you African, that shit comes with responsibility. Because you can't be sitting in, you know, America and saying you African, you know, and ain't really got nothing going on. Period. And so y'all just following a cult, Negro. It's a cultism. And y'all done, so I asked him, I said, if something happened to this man, then what? You understand what I'm saying? That's why you should never, and I told y'all about this, put your, you know, eggs in one basket, putting everything into one man. Because you don't want to get up and stand up for yourself. Period. And that's all the ABOs, ADOS, FBA, that's all they doing. Most of these Negroes is some weak Negroes. Y'all grew up in the suburbs or something. You understand what I'm saying? Because, you know, ain't no street Negroes gonna follow this little fat thicky Ross or whatnot. Not on no real nigga shit, you know what I'm saying? And it about to go down. And you gonna sit here and say, I'm a Native American. What good is that gonna do? You know, when them things come out, nigga. You gonna run up the street trying to hide behind some little teepee or something, nigga. Period. And where is the facts? Where is the facts? I'm gonna get back to them in a minute. They never got no, again, if you embarrassed to tell everybody that Dane Calloway is your master teacher, cause you know damn well that's who it is, nigga. Period. And we done already exposed where he got that shit from the Russians, and they said that it was propaganda. The United States came out and said that little article was propaganda. Y'all, you know, don't do no research. You just run to YouTube and listen to what everybody say. You just jumped on it. Oh yeah, my grandmama did say, we was a Native American and shit. Show me the Native Americans in your family. Period. 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 Again, I'm like him. I ain't no damn Native American, but my great grandfather was. And, you know, go look at them videos. I showed y'all Big Red. Period. He got a big hump on his. Matter of fact, let me show y'all this. Let me show y'all this. Let me show y'all this. Now this here is Big Red. Now I done showed this shit plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? Now that's Big Red, nigga. Period. And you see him with that big hump on his nose. That man got Chinese looking eyes. Light bright that he Asian. Period. And so 99% of them that's saying that they some Indians, tell them to do what I just done. Tell them to show the actual Indians in your family. Nigga, don't go cut out no shit out no magazine or nothing. Show a real picture, you know, because that picture right there was in the 1800s, nigga. Period. Period. And he was stayed alive, I think, until 1994. That was from like, so 1898. 1898 to like 19. He was like 100 or something. But his name would be, he got an Indian name. We don't look nothing like that man. But the people that saying they Native Americans, you can't do that. You see how quick I can do that. You can't do that yet. You understand what I'm saying? Because you ain't no Indian, nigga. You a 1% Indian. You a 1% Indian. Just like I showed it. That's why you don't want to say DNA or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want to deal with DNA. Because you know that's going to expose who and what truly you is, nigga. Period. You a West African man. Now I'm going to let them run it back. Right quick. Throw them up the video.
And it's sick to watch black folks do this to themselves. It's hard to watch. I mean, I'm sitting there watching brothers sitting here trying to pretend like got their Native American, got their headdresses on, talking about their chief. I said, if you're a chief, go take that to the U.S. government and see if you can actually get some money. You know what they tell me, bro? Every time I tell them, I said, if you're really full-blooded Cherokee or full-blooded Choctaw or full-blooded Blackfoot, you should be able to go to these tribes and get some money. Oh, it's not about that. What you mean it's not about that? Those are recognized groups. So now they're trying to bring up, now some of what they've tried to do is some of the idiots try to do is move to extinct tribes, like tribes that have died out, and try to claim them people as their people. So like, come on, man. Why don't you take a DNA? Well, I don't want to take the DNA. DNA is white man science, so you know we can't do that, man. You got to go by what your grandma and your granddaddy said, and what your great uncle said, and your great aunt said, and your great aunt said, and that's a more determining factor. No, they might have thought that. They might have had bad information. So, you know, and then some of those folks may actually have some Native American in their background, but that don't make you Native American, bro. Show it, the majority of your genetics is still West African, and they hate it. They hate it. They hate being West and Central African, because a lot of people are Congolese too. So they hate being West and Central African, bro. They just can't stand it. But we're sub-Saharan Africans, bro. I'm totally fine with that too, bro.
It's just the reality of the situation. Let me address this comment. Brandon, can you tell us that the FBAs are not Aboriginals? Nasheed keep confusing us, but I don't see any traditions black people inherited. Look, man, here's the reality. How can you be a descendant of slaves and a foundational Black American if you an Indian? Indians got beat up and they took America from them. They took America from them. If you look at when the white man was beating up on the Indian, there were no cities built. There weren't even really any major farms or anything like that. The white man had to build up an army that wasn't even that big. He came across, he sold Indians guns, gave them smallpox, and he just started claiming land, all the Midwest and all that stuff. So when people talk about foundational Black Indian Americans, Indians were on during the like 1776 and all that stuff, when the American basically immigrants, when the white man came from Europe, they went to war. The Indians joined with the British to fight against the French and the British, to fight against the Indians joined the French to fight against the British. Then the British beat them up. So the Indians took an L in that first conflict, right? Then the British came in then Britain had like a civil war amongst themselves on the American continent. After that happened, the founding fathers had already, Black slaves had already been in America building shit already. And then the founding fathers, they had Boston and all these different things. Remember, the British went in and burnt down, I think, Boston or some place like that. These white people had already been here establishing, government systems in America, right? So when the Black people were like, we're indigenous. You were not in the wilderness going to war with white people in the forest of North America. You just weren't. You weren't there. You were there already as workers because, of course, Britain had been taking slaves from Africa for like damn near a century already before the United States came into existence.
But Brandon, before they even brought over African slaves, they had already enslaved Native Americans. But then again, it was easier to enslave a lot of the Native Americans because they weren't really able to fight because they were passing away of smallpox. So exactly. they didn't have to go and slaughter them in no actual war because smallpox was already doing a job for them. So it was easy to claim the land, the territory, because the Native Americans kept getting sick and dying. So then at that point, when they finally enslaved the Native Americans only lasted about a year. So then they said, we got to go get us a worker that can last longer.
They died out. Look at this too. How come this is how you know you're delusional? When you come from a position of we're aboriginals, right? You only want to sue for America and what America currently has because, you look at America as something valuable. But Indians then made alliances with France. You know what I'm saying? They even were making some alliances with the British when the British were fighting against the American settlers. Why don't you go sue Britain for their reparations? They beat you up too. They beat you up first when you tried to side with the French and got your ass whooped. But you're not going to get nothing from them. You're not coming in holding them accountable for what they took from you. All you can focus on is the last 200 years of history. That's pretty much all these guys focused on. These Indians were here for more than 200 years, right? And they're observing certain traditions and all that. But how are you that people when you do not honor or observe any of the traditions? My boy, he's actually Indian. He's from the Muskogee tribe. The brother went down with his mom and him. They got a DNA test from the tribe. Of course, it wasn't a whole lot of Black folks there, but it was some mixed people and it was some Indians. They were doing DNA tests, and now they get a check every month from they get a check every month from the tribe, and there's different benefits, like you don't have to pay an electric bill, you don't have to pay no utilities or nothing. The tribe handles that, right? So here's the thing. There are systems in place to prove whether you come from Indian lineage. These systems are governed by those tribes. Tribes they're strengthened by members, so they're not like discriminating like you Black, you can't be in here. They want more members. They want more people, right? Why don't you just go down there and talk?
And that's what Kyrie Irving done. See, but his mama was accepted into the Indian tribe. Now, if you could prove again, but see, they don't want to do no DNA test because they scared that she gonna come back and say they had 98% goddamn Fulani, Cameroonian or some shit like Congo or something. They don't want to see. If you had a way to prove that you was a Native American, why wouldn't you want to do that? See what I'm saying? That's how you know that's some bullshit. But then you try to use genealogy, which is still connected to DNA, Negro. How you think they getting the DNA? They testing the Africans on the continent, and they can see that you got some of the same DNA as they do. But it's just the Africans in America that been mixed with all these different tribes. Now the brothers and sisters in the islands went as one tribe, but they was fighting, and the Europeans say, what? We gonna break up those lots and stick them all together. They can't communicate, they can't fight back. Then we got brung up here and started to make amongst each other, all them different tribes, and then when you go look at your lineage, that's what it's gonna say. And I'm gonna run it a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna come right back.
To those people and see if you can get, you might even be able to get adopted in there. But instead, what you want to do is, if you're an Indian, you got your own history. What you want to do is argue over the white man's history, his version, his story of your people, as that damn Indian said on that video, right? If you are Indian, you wouldn't even be worried about the white man's story of your people. You would be going with your people and making advancements. Do you hear the Indians who making all in millions over there at Pachanga Casino? Because Cali, you and Cali like me. Do you hear them Indians over at Pachanga Casino trying to go back and forth with the white man about history? Hello? Cali, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. I'm sorry if I couldn't get off mute.
It's all good. Do you hear Indian? Now, we got Pachanga, Morongo, these casinos where these Indians is making millions and millions and millions of dollars every year. Do you hear them arguing with the white man about history?
No, not at all, bro. You never hear them talking about that, because first thing, they got evidence to back up their history, though, bro. They got artifacts, they got documents. You know what I mean? They got genetics on their side. Everything backs up the actual Native Americans actually being there.
Wait. We got Delaware data. Britons, which Britain is what you should say, don't own this land. If you don't realize that the United States is a corporation of Great Britain, you are more delusional than anybody I've ever met in my life. Britain owns this land. The Queen of England owns, like will tell you, the Queen of England owns more land owns the most land on the whole planet. She owns the most land on the whole planet. Why do you think the United States, when Britain go to war, they go to war? We are just like their bank, bro. That's why the pound...
66 billion hectares of land. That's how much land. So basically, she owns land on every continent, Asia, Africa. She owns America, South America, Jamaica, everything. Period. So these niggas talking about Turtle Island. You don't own nothing, Negro. Turtle Island. What the fuck is they gonna do with turtle? Simple, stupid-minded Negro.
More than the dollar. Even though we're doing all the trading and everything else, they literally own the centralized banking system that the United States uses. Talking about Britain don't own this land. Let's go smack yourself. But keep going, Callie.
Yeah, man. Like I said, they have everything on their side, man. So this misnomer that the Native Americans aren't the actual people from this country is nonsense, man. We don't have any evidence to back that up. Not just that. If you go back and check the documents, there's newspapers. If you look at, there's documents that where black folks actually had meetings in the 1700s where they were talking about their origins coming from Africa. If you look at the census, the 1790 census, they had two labels, black and white. But when they did country of origin, they labeled Asia. They had Asia. They had Africa. They had what else? Other countries.
What I tell you?
And only thing, it was only 4% of the people in the census. Only 4% of the people in the census marked other. 4%. Those are the actual Native Americans. The actual Native Americans. Black people marked African, bro. Black people marked Africa in the census, 1790 census. But you know what? Go ahead.
If you're 4% of the population and the black people is way more than that, right? Who do you think was procreating more? The 4% or the black people who made up damn near 50% or more of the population at that time? Clearly, it's the black people who made up the 50% of the population. FBA Nigel, yes, I do consider Aboriginal brothers from Australia to be African. Like I do. There's nothing about, their history that says they're not. What you got to understand, slaves and stuff were transported, but I mean, when all the continents were together, they probably were just on that region and it just separated, right?
No, I can tell you, they actually are originally from Africa. They really are. They're originally from Africa. They migrated thousands of years ago. They're actually related to the same people in New Guinea and people in India, the country India, South India. They're all related. Those are the people who are genetically related. They're the similar people I'm talking about as far as the Aboriginals in Australia. But yeah, they were originally from Africa. They were originally from Africa. They migrated thousands of years ago, though. So they are Aboriginal. They are now native to the island, the country, the continent of Australia. They are now. But yeah, those people are. But the black people are not indigenous to the Americas, bro. We are not.
Indians, listen, this is the way I learned it in school, right? And this is what makes sense to me when I do research. Asiatic people, right? Like Hong Ching and the niggas making barbecue beef. They migrated across an ice bridge called the Bering Strait way back in the day. They came into North America, right? Because they were following herds and game and stuff like that. Now, if you go to Asia, it's a very fucked up climate, right? It's cold. It's not very welcoming. It's hard to grow things there, stuff like that. So you understand why a group of people who never even, they hadn't even mastered farming, had to chase around herds to eat. That makes sense, right? Asia is not a place that's conducive to farming. That's why China has to import so much of its food and crops, right? Now, you're eating meat. You're chasing herds, right? So then, as they're chasing those herds are going across this ice bridge or land bridge or whatever it is, and they fall in and maybe they just, wound up in, North America. Oh my God, that's one of the theories, right? Now, if you could convince me or tell me why African living in Africa, great weather, right? I'm talking about optimal weather in Africa. This brother's running around in a loincloth with a spear, right? And barefoot. Why he would get the notion, you know what I want to do? I want to go walk across the ice cold tundra of Asia or the ice cold tundra of Europe and just go see what's out there. That doesn't even make any logical sense. Like, that's not how people back in the day even thought. They didn't think like, in the name of science, I'm going to go walk as far as I can until I hit snow. And then when I hit snow, I'm going to wrap some camel skins around my feet and continue to walk through the snow into a new land. People didn't think like that. People back in the day moved back.
Too, though, if you look at a lot of the tribes that's in the Pacific, in their history, in their oral history, they are a maritime people. Whether Easter Island, whether you go to Hawaii, a lot of them have a traveling on the sea. Go look at the what is that little cartoon? And it's about Hawaii or one of those islands where, they had to put their ships up for their ancestors. You see what I'm saying? They had to put, so a lot of those tribes over there, and you can look it up, have a maritime history, meaning they traveled on the sea to those places in Asia. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying the earlier humans, yeah, some of them might have, but who gonna walk that far? You see what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna walk from Africa to no Asia. A lot of those people had boat building skills. They knew, the currents that was in the ocean, so they was able to travel. And the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea. Period. Cause so when you go to Mexico, you see them currents land right there in La Venta. Right there where the Omex is. So those are African people. When you go to the museum, you're going to see the Indians over here. Like I showed y'all on that one video. the African holding that golden spear, talking to that Mayan. Them is two different people, period. But they trying to say that they the hump-nosed Mayans. You some hump-nosed Mayan, nigga. Yeah, right. Period. And so when you get to the other side of the ocean, whether it's the Pacific or the islands. If you look at Lucille, they say she Aborigine and African, which shows that they was coming from both sides of the sea and went way before a European was ever here. It was African people here and the Aborigine people here mating with one another. Then you get those people coming in from the Bering Straits and they started to fight. Period. And then by the time the European came, they had the red man, which means you get a little brown and a little black. It make a little, red looking. You see what I'm saying? What the Europeans seen, period. Period. And then they started to mate with the Indians. And see, they okay with Indians, them being kin to Indians. But they ain't gonna claim you. Period. So Negroes, like I said before, put their names on the dolls' rolls too for protection. For protection from that beast. Period. So no, you ain't no eyeballs. Black people is not no indigenous Negro. You don't have a scholar. You don't have no evidence. You don't have no documents. You don't have anything that proves this. And see, you trying to prove with the black people when you need to be up there knocking on the Indians though and the white man though, just like the brothers were saying, for y'all to get certified by the government. You think we give a damn if y'all gonna go hold some tambourines and put some little feathers in your head? Negro, you still in America, you still a slave, period. Period. So why would you call yourself a Native American and you not reaping the benefits of the Native American? Native Americans don't gotta pay no taxes. They don't gotta pay no water bills, light bills. They get a check every month and they got their own piece of land. Where your shit at? You still running around out here with us, Negro. If you was an Indian, you would have been born on a reservation. Period. And you would have been born with the traditions. You would have had the language. And you a Christian. Your family is Christian, which proves your ass come up out the slave trade, Negro, period. 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 Because you don't speak Spanish. Them other Indians, they speak Spanish and they got Christianity coming from Spain. Because if you ask them, they'll say, we Spanish. You understand what I'm saying? Even if they black, they'll say they from Spain. They Spanish or whatnot. And so, but you up here and you a Christian, which means you were conquered by the British, stolen from Africa. They don't like me, boy. They don't like me, boy. Hey, for real. Cause they can't. Y'all is like a punching bag, man. You like a punching bag, cause see, you can't come up against great scholarship. And I'm gonna end it right here. Thumb up the video. You can't come up against great scholarship like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Sheikh Anthony Diop, Chancellor Williams, John G. Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You can't come up against Ivan Van Serk. You can't come up against those type of scholars. You see, that's about 8-9 scholars right there. And y'all don't even got one, except Dane Calloway, nigga. Except Fat Boy with the nappiest beard on the planet. And he's in the Native Americans don't wear beard. Show me an Indian with a beard, Negro. Not even the ones that was mixing with the Indians. They shade a beard, nigga, because that's a part of the Indians' culture. They not have a bunch of hair on their damn face. So Dane Calloway, what you doing? Them beards come from the Egyptians, fool. If you look at the Rasta man and you see he'll have his beard dreaded up the same way, go look at the walls of ancient Egypt. Period. It's too much in the culture of the Western world that's African. The food, the dance, everything, the drum everything that you know, go on in Southern America and in the islands, you know, them niggas up north bougie or whatnot. They bougie or whatnot. They totally and lost everything that they got. You see what I'm saying? And see, Tariq Nasheed mad because the brothers and sisters in the South still African. Eat rice every day. Niggas, you know, the English that we speak, can't even nobody under the Geechee language, the Patois. It's all through the southern states. The Voodoo, you go to South Carolina, go to the coast of South Carolina over there, the Geechee Islands, go to Louisiana, go down to Miami and places like that. See, don't they be down there practicing their voodoo? African Americans, Haitians, all of that is African. You have no way of getting away from being the African, especially when your hair look like black M&Ms. Drop out! Big, big king, get free or die. Heavy is the head to wear the crown. I'll be right back.